Hello and welcome to Markets at Money Control. I am Santosh Nair and let's have a quick look at the action in the stock market today. Bulls continue to party on Dalal Street. The NSE Nifty closed above 10,200 for the first time ever. The star stocks today in action were Bharti Infratel and Idea Cellular. Sector-wise, the top gainers were mostly from the auto, metal, pharma and realty shares. You had banking stocks not doing all that great today, but there was a fair bit of action in mid-cap stocks as well. Reliance closed slightly lower on profit taking after better than expected numbers announced post-market hours on Friday. You had Axis Bank down about 1.8% ahead of its quarterly earnings results. And you had Bharti Airtel rising about 6%. CNBC TV18 reports that the company is in talks with the Tata Group for consolidation of the DTH business. JM Financial and Federal Bank rose about 6 to 9% on strong earnings number for the September quarter. Tomorrow is Dhanteras and many of you would be wondering whether it's a good time to be investing in gold. And to answer that question, I have with me Kishore Narne of Motilal Oswal Commodity Broking Private Limited, and he'll be telling us whether indeed this is a good time to be investing in gold. Welcome to Money Control, Mr. Narne.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure.
So, tell us, before we tell our viewers whether it's a good time to be investing in gold, post demonetization, has gold lost some of its luster as an investment avenue?
Not really. Actually, even during demonetization phase, we have seen a small spike in gold purchases. Of course, it was triggered by demonetization. People wanted to buy gold with the old currency notes, and after that, temporarily there's a lull. Especially as the jewelers went on strikes, and there's a lot of disruption there. And also even for the investors, the returns not been very attractive, so that investors always compare with different asset classes where the equities has been performing very well. So a lot of money went into there, and gold has, of course, as you said, took the second or maybe third in the preference of investors.
So now, given this backdrop, is this Dhanteras a good auspicious time to be buying gold?
Dhanteras is always auspicious, as we believe it to be. Most of the Dhanteras purchases are not really timed or not really priced very well. But I think I would like to believe that this time Dhanteras is coming at a much better time. Of course, we have seen some movement, and especially that initial move for a larger uptrend in gold, primarily triggered by the North Korean issue of geopolitical concerns, as well as some of the burning issues like Iraq again getting into fight with the Kurdish forces there. Iran is still again under the pressure of possibility of sanctions coming back. So that these factors are actually helping it to move ahead. But fundamentally, I think we have seen the worst period of gold, especially because normally it has 2-3 years of lull period and then it starts moving up. We have seen that great period in equities where last 3-4 years have been good, especially US equities, though Indian equities have been performing for the last 2-3 years. I think somewhere that markets have seen, the financial markets have seen much more flows from the investors, as well as they have performed much better. I think gold has taken that backseat. I think that is coming to an end, what we believe. Though we are not expecting a significant jump in the next 12 months, but I think anything between 10 to 12% is not a bad idea.
So over the last 3 odd months, we saw a sharp jump in gold imports. So what could be the reason for that?
See, first thing, we started the last quarter with a low inventory because we have not imported a lot. Most of the jewelers preferred that let the GST come. We don't know how much inventory we can carry forward, and what kind of accounting issues will come. So a lot of people actually went into the post GST era with a very low inventory. So actually that actually triggered post GST. A lot of purchases happened. Some of the banks started importing that. Though still we got the September numbers yesterday or day before, even that has been negative. So if you compare with the last year September and this year September, it is still lower than last year. But I think what we are getting, that primary initial report from the jewelers is that the footfalls have increased significantly over the last 3-4 days, and especially the weekend has been extremely good. So there could be 10 to 15%. If not, some of the jewelers have been pegging at 20% higher demand than previous Diwali for the current Diwali.
Okay, moving from gold over to base metals. Now, the news from China seems to be getting better. In fact, even the producer price index was way above what most analysts were expecting it to be, and it looks like the full year growth for the economy will be quite strong. Now, how does this impact? What's your outlook on base metals given this new set of data coming from China?
Yeah, I think we've been bullish on base metals since last 6-8 months, especially on aluminum and copper. Actually, aluminum basically we're going into winter where Chinese government has taken a strict regulatory stance against the aluminum smelters, which cause a heavy amount of pollution. So as we enter the winter months, there is a huge amount of aluminum smelting capacity which is getting shut down. Even at one city, Guangzhou, has been shutting down, has ordered to shut down around 2.4 million capacity, million tons capacity of smelting capacity. So there is a tightness which is going to come in the next 6 months. So aluminum is one of the front runner. Second, as you mentioned, actually the macro data has been improving significantly in China. Not only PPI, even the growth numbers of more than 7% GDP growth is what the analysts were not really expecting, this kind of growth in China. So there is a re-rating of commodities, and there is a huge amount which we have seen in the last 2 months is a significant imports of refined metal as well as the ore concentrate side. So there is a significant built up of inventories again back in China, which is causing this spike, and we believe there is a good upside still remaining in zinc, copper and nickel.
And what about crude? What is your outlook on crude prices? That's been pretty volatile, and Citi has said that there could be a possible supply side squeeze in 2018. So given this backdrop, what do you see playing out there?
See, crude is fighting with both supply as well as demand. I think they're both pull and push factors, even on the supply side itself. One side, as and when crude goes above $51, $52, the shale oil producers become extremely profitable. They are pushing more and more crude into the market. Market is not extremely oversupplied, or not even, it's pretty tight balance between the demand and supply at this point of time. So you need a very small disruption for the prices to move up by $3-4 from here. But the moment it comes to $3-4, that means once you're into the territory of $53-54, the shale oil production, the marginal cost of production for shale oil is somewhere close to 40 or under 40 for some of the producers right now. So they are sitting on a huge margin. So they pump up a lot of oil, on the other side is the Middle Eastern crisis, where right now again Iran is back into the news that there could be possibility of sanctions again. There could be disruption of oil from there, which is around roughly 2.5 million barrels from there. 500,000 barrels could be affected by this if the tensions between the Iraqi government and the Kurdish forces again simmer back. So there could be possibility of disruption, but I think anything above 54-55 looks difficult to sustain, but anything below 47-45 again looks difficult to sustain on the lower end. So I think the broader range for the next 1 year could be around 45 to 55.
So one last question, Mr. Narne. Now, foreign funds have been selling consistently for over 2 months now, and still you've seen the rupee holding fairly strong, and a bit surprising considering that even the fundamentals are not looking all that rosy. How do you see the rupee moving against the dollar over the next 3 to 6 months?
I think one thing we have all seen is, despite foreign funds being selling, our forex reserves have been increasing. So one thing is, we have seen a significant inflow on the debt side. So that debt flows actually has been keeping our forex reserves higher, as well as keeping the rupee pretty much in the range. We have seen a slight depreciation over the last couple of months, especially triggered by the equity sell-off which we have seen in the middle of that. But I think largely we have seen a low inflationary, high liquidity and a high yielding scenario, which is a very rosy scenario for any currency to be in. When you have a net real rate feeling very extremely positive, when you have your current account balances under control, and forex flows coming through debt, and the local liquidity still is higher. So I think it's a pretty good picture. But I think we have seen significant appreciation from right from 67 to close to around 64.5 or so. At this point of time, if I see next quarter onwards, I think the best level which we can see is 64.8 or 64.5, and on the worst side probably 66.2 kind of a levels is what we're seeing. So there is a possibility of dollar being slightly weaker in short term, especially triggered by the euro strength. Actually, euro and pound are looking much stronger on the short term basis. But I think broadly dollar is going to be under pressure, looking at the US political scenario as well as the US the deficit scenario.
Well, thank you so much for joining us and sharing those insights with our viewers. And that's all we have for now in Markets at Money Control. Thank you for watching.